what happens when you take one of the most goated football boots of all time and you put debatably Nike's best ever sole plate on it? Well, in today's video, we have the Hypervenom 1 REGEN, which I am absolutely stoked about. Let's jump straight into the unboxing. Now, we get a really cool Hypervenom logoing here. This was part of the original Hypervenom logo when the boots first came out back in 2013. We have just some simple Nike swooshes, all matte black box. Here is your size guide. Now, I went true to size. That was what best fit me with the original series, as well as the Hypervenom 3, which of course this is based on, that lasting. This is a 9 US 10.5 in women's, which is a UK 8 27 centimeters and a Euro 42.5. By the way, this is the same size that I wear for every single Nike model, both current and past, other than Magista Obra and one other boot that I go half a size up in, but I digress. Let's get these out of the box. So some nice matte black paper here. Oh yeah, moment of truth. Here we go. Oh my days. Oh my God. Wow, look at that. The original Hypervenom NikeSkin upper. Same HyperReactive sole plate. Wow. These are sensational. Still very lightweight, obviously with the new last. Holy moly. Yeah, just gonna sit for a minute and enjoy these. Holy crap. Yeah, these are beautiful. So fun fact, I actually had almost every single colorway of the original Hypervenom 1, never actually owned the OG colorway that first came out. And one of my best friends had this colorway and we trained together all throughout my college years. And it's a boot that I always just looked at with so much admiration because I was like, the colors fit perfectly, it looks aggressive, and I'm so glad that they remade it in this particular colorway. So let's get the other boot out. There you go. There's the right boot. Same, as you would probably hope. And then underneath, I believe we get a string bag as well. Oh, we do. Awesome. Which this, I believe, is the original string bag. Or at least very, very close to that original string bag with, of course, the Hypervenom skull and crossbones logo. This is a very, very cool piece of kit. Okay, let's get the box out of the way. Talk a little bit about tech, features, history, and here you go. So a couple things about Hypervenom 1 and a couple things about Hypervenom 3. So Hypervenom 1 released in 2013, of course, headlined by Neymar Jr., who embodied this, like, I mean, you guys all know Neymar nowadays. Back in 2013, he was transferring from Santos to FC Barcelona, and on his debut, they sort of matched his debut with the launch of the Hypervenom. So this became, he wore Vapors and Superflies before that point, and this became the boot for that player who was super agile, hard to defend, great on 1v1, sort of that attacking-minded player. That's what all the marketing around this boot was. Obviously, this original colorway and this original model was what they went for. Now, in terms of other players who wore this, this was obviously Neymar's boot, but also worn by players like Rooney, Lewandowski, and Higuain, who were a part of the marketing for this particular model. Now, in terms of the upper of the original, you have the NikeSkin upper, which was touted, and I think still to this day, is one of the most impressive Nike materials. It's incredibly soft. This is obviously, you can see this is a tattered and worn pair. This is my personal pair. And it's very, very worn, but it's super soft. It's very thin. NikeSkin is essentially a super lightweight mesh fused with the polyurethane. So the polyurethane, the specific treatment that they put on it that makes it sort of this NikeSkin is the mesh base, which a lot of you, if you were to actually look on the inside of the boots, which you'll see footage of, the mesh base actually looks like a super thin layer of Flyknit, which is really, really interesting. So it's almost like a precursor to Flyknit boots with the full polyurethane coating, which obviously has this really nice waxy sensation to it. They also have the standard U-throat tongue, off-center lacing system, nothing in terms of heel counter. It's all internal on this particular model. And then this split toe design for the sole plate, which was essentially to help with, or supposed to help, I guess, with change of direction so that your foot could kind of pivot and be more into the ground. Conical stud pattern, which I absolutely loved. And oh, by the way, for all of those who are saying that a all chevron stud or all bladed stud pattern is more aggressive or better for football, when Nike put out debatably its best agility boot, look at all the studs, conical. Told you. So, excellent football boot, but it did suffer a lot from durability issues. I personally broke 6 pairs right here, and I went through the Nike website and the returns policy and the 2-year warranty situation. I am probably personally responsible for the fact that they don't do very well with returns anymore, but I digress. Then we fast forward to 2017, when Nike created the greatest football boot of all time. Oh, excuse me. Greatest football boot of all time, the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 3. Obviously, some of you will disagree with that. This is just a boot that fit me absolutely perfectly. Part of that reason was the shape and the way that this sole plate operates. The HyperReactive sole plate is second to none, in my opinion, when it comes to a combination of lateral stability, lateral change of direction, pivot power when you stick your foot into the ground. It's got a great amount of stiffness to it as well. And this sole plate has my heart completely. It is one of the best sole plates. It's got an external heel counter as well, so you have a great amount of stability and structure throughout the entirety of the foot, even for wide-footed players like myself. This, of course, introduced for one of the first times a full knit upper, carrying over from the Magista series and the Superfly of the time, and the full knit upper with the flywire cables across the lateral and medial sides, as well as these kind of, what do you call it, air pockets or sense pods or whatever they're called. So these created this really nice pingy sensation. Now, in my opinion, this upper I absolutely loved. The shape I loved even better, and I loved most the sole plate. So this whole package is just one of my favorite boots of all time. It's very lightweight as well. Well, what happens when you take 2 of these and put them together? You create this new remake. So of course, this is a NikeSkin upper, as you can see here from some of the detailing. You still have all of the same graphics from that original pair with the all conditions control on here as well. This remains that same mesh base, super thin mesh with the polyurethane coating. This does feel slightly more stiff than the OG model. I have had an OG model that's brand new and never been worn in my hand in the last 24 hours. So going like this back and forth, you can tell it's about maybe 15%. 20% more stiff. Not in a bad way necessarily, but it's because there is a little bit of a different structure to the super thin suede lining that's on the inside of the material. So if you were to put kind of, if I have Kelvin put like words this way, if you go inside, if I'm the foot, you have the suede lining on both boots, then you have this mesh, and then you have the polyurethane coating on the outside. So the outside is what creates that really waxy, beautiful, sticky sensation of the NikeSkin, and then in the middle you have the mesh, which is what makes it so soft and so pliable, and the ability for it to just wrap around every little nook and cranny of your foot, which is why knit boots, hint hint, are so popular today. Same concept here. And then of course you have the suede lining, which provides a little bit of internal grip, but also some structure, because otherwise that would stretch all over the place, because the polyurethane in principle doesn't have, as you break it in, it will continue to stretch and stretch and stretch unless you have an internal cage or external cage that creates some sort of structure. So that's the way that that works. And then you do have the exact same HyperReactive sole plate. Now in terms of sizing, these are both a 9 US. Put them straight up like that, and you can see on this camera here exactly the same size. So they fit identically to the Hypervenom Phantom 3, as well as the OG Phantom as well. As you can see, put them side by side. Maybe the OG is slightly longer by like a hair, but these ones should fit true to size. There's a little bit of a difference in the coating of the heel area as well, but it's very unnoticeable. I mean, it's obviously these are worn quite a bit. This is a very sticky, well, it's now kind of sticky. I don't know what it was like when it was first, I can't remember what it was like when it was first put on my feet, but it's almost, it makes that kind of kind of sound. And same with this one, but a little bit more of a matte material here. This is more on the side of that matte material. So a little bit closer to the liner that's on the Hypervenom 3, despite it being the same shape and construction, obviously, as the original model. So absolutely amazing. I love the fact that they went with the 1-to-1 upper, or 99% of the 1-to-1 upper, obviously with slight variation to the internal cage, that suede liner, and then the 1-to-1 of the best sole plate that's ever been created, in my opinion. This is a phenomenal pair of football boots to look at, but what I'm really interested in is, number one, is the durability going to be better than these? Because these I've only worn a couple times, and they're already starting to see a little bit of wear and tear. Obviously, they're really old now. They're more than 10 years old, so, you know, fair play. But in the time, the new pairs were breaking like crazy too. So hopefully that internal structure helped the durability a little bit, even if it takes maybe 5% more break-in time, because it's slightly stiffer than the previous gen. Still beautiful, still NikeSkin, still soft. But let's test it out on pitch and see how these bad boys perform. All right, guys, welcome out to the pitch. I am super, super stoked about this, getting these on, trying them on for the first time, and getting a feel for how close they are to that original Hypervenom Phantom 1. Now, this is one of those boots that is an absolute gem as far as a remake goes, and Adidas has done this a couple times, and I'm glad to see that Nike has finally taken the bait, and they've done something absolutely fantastic. So here we go. They look amazing in the sunshine. I've got a 20% discount code for you guys in the link down below for WeFoot grip socks, which I wear for every session. And you guys can pick up a pair for yourself, both thin and thick versions. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yes. The OG feel, there it is. That is awesome. So similar to the in-studio portion of the video, these do definitely have a slightly more stiff upper. I imagine that's going to break in just fine. Sizing feels really good, so that's where my toe is. Right on the end, tiny bit of extra room there, but not enough to go half a size down by any means. I would strongly recommend you go true to your US size, or whatever size you wear in most Nike boots, Tiempo, Vapor. I know some people go down half a size for the GX2 and Luna 2, so maybe stick with Vapor and Tiempo sizing, because that seems to be a little bit more consistent. But yeah, very, very cool. I love this sole plate as well. I can already feel kind of I think it's going to be a little bit more of a locked in sensation, both because of the extra reinforcement from that suede liner, but also from the sole plate that's going to give this a much more sturdy feel, I think, on feet, which is awesome. So here we go. Let's get into a little bit of footwork straight away. Yeah, man, this sole plate is awesome. Oops, still got my car key in here. It is one of those sole plates that I don't understand why a company like Nike wouldn't just keep this around. It feels like such a cheat code because of how grounded they feel. And yeah, so far, so good. Hypervenom 1 is also a boot that takes me maybe a little bit of time to break in, not too much, but it's already feeling really nice. I do think that the heel area is one place where I might have a little bit of slippage. That was the same for the OG model, so we'll see as we start to break these in a little bit. This will be a moment of truth for the NikeSkin as well, if it has kind of that same like sticky barefoot feeling that made the originals so popular. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, these are as close to a 1-to-1 feel as you're gonna get in terms of that such nice barefoot sensation on feet. It's very, very thin. Gets that, kind of has that waxy sensation to it as well. And man, these feel awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. As well, the sole plate definitely makes this boot feel a lot more kind of put together and responsive, which is a huge deal. I do think if you like that original version, but you wish there was maybe a little bit more lockdown or a little bit more structure in terms of the way that the upper and the sole plate kind of moved together. This is definitely that fix. I don't know if that was, you know, on purpose in terms of they didn't have the last for the original version anymore, or they were like, hey, better idea, let's combine the best of kind of all of our Phantom series and give you the best sole plate we've ever created, debatably, plus one of the best uppers we've ever created. It's a pretty cool thing, Nike. Well done. I think dribbling and shooting here is where the Hypervenom really stood out. So getting started, got to warm up the adductors first, but getting sorted with some of that kind of pingy one-to-one barefoot sensation is so nice as I get sort of my legs starting to warm up a bit. Feel is awesome, and similar to the GX in terms of grip. For those of you who haven't tried the Hypervenom 1 remakes, I actually met a player last night who actually was too young. He's like a U17, U18 player, and he was too young for this original release, even though he's super excited about it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what hype does, and that is what a class silo that looks good, that feels good, all those things. So I was kind of blown away that the Hypervenom was like too old for him, if you will. But man, this is a throwback, and they feel fabulous. All right, just bouncing off the 9 here, trying to get that first touch finish as we come through the cones. Bounce off the 9, that's all right, that's fine. Ideally, I'd like to curve that in with my left foot, but it's kind of one of those things that this is maybe a bit far away. Oh, there we go. Man, these are throwing me back big time. I think if you are somebody who is in sort of my cohort in terms of age group, you're young, like the bottom part of the millennials, or you're maybe part of, nice, that's it, good adjustment. You're part of whatever the next generation is, you're like the oldest part of the next generation, and you grew up watching Neymar in like his prime, this is that boot. And I gotta be honest with you, yeah, sure, I'm biased because I like the Hypervenom 3 sole plate better than the regular Hypervenom 1 sole plate. But the little changes they've made to this upper to make it a little more structured, ever so slightly, plus the Hypervenom 3 sole plate, I think this is a better boot than the original. Crazy. All right, so in terms of striking, shooting, these feel similar in texture and in kind of the way that they operate in terms of the, like compared to the GX, I'd say. I know grip knit is obviously a different style of material, but in terms of that grippy sensation that you get on the ball, oh man, it feels so good. Like that little extra bit of texturing, both from that kind of honeycomb texture, but also the NikeSkin kind of waxy sensation really feels like you have proper control. And obviously right now it's a dry weather condition. Ooh, a little knuckle there. Nice, but they're super barefoot feeling, and that's what made the OG so special, was that it sort of just like molds perfectly to your foot, and you're able to get that kind of crack, like ping sensation like you would when you play barefoot, like in the backyard and stuff, which is like, oh, it's so refreshing. It's so nice. All right, a little bit of free kicks. Definitely got to get that bend and swerve on it, especially with that little extra bit of grip, which I love. Nice and easy. Oof. I like the idea though. This is where, I don't know, I'm playing it kind of ballsy, playing on turf with these. I do think that this sole plate is perfectly suitable for AG surfaces. You know what, I'm gonna go far post this time. Every single freaking video, I feel like I go near post, but let's go. I tried to kill that too much. Let's try to get a little bit more of a finesse shot into that far post. yeah, I'm playing it pretty ballsy, but I do feel like this sole plate is better, and this construction honestly feels a little bit better than the original in terms of, there it is. Man, maybe I need to freaking switch my spot. I think this is better in terms of construction. Maybe it's recency bias, but I really do feel like this combination of upper and sole plate plus the minor tweak they made to this upper really does make like a substantial difference in the way the boots feel, which is pretty cool. So up and over. Nice, lovely. Let's jump into the crossbar challenge, baby. Let's go. And obviously, if you buy a pair of the OG model, like from 2013 or 14, and you try and play in them now, of course they're gonna fall apart, obviously. Like they're gonna be less durable. But in terms of just the solidity, the solidity on feet, these ones feel, to me, a lot more just robust. And that, yes. Oh, double, almost. And that's something that I really love about this remake, is it really is sort of, you know, albeit some of the things that maybe I don't like about it, which I'll talk about in a second, it is a remake that I think they absolutely nailed. They made all the right upgrades, and credit to Nike, man. These are freaking awesome. These are awesome. Okay, so with all the hype around these, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to buy them? Obviously, this review will probably come out after those boots officially launch, but are they gonna be worth the extra resale cost? For those of you, like the lovely gentleman, absolute baller that I met last night on a Zoom call, doing some little bit of scouting and coaching vibe, he is somebody who has never really worn them, doesn't really have that kind of same feeling maybe about the way that these fit and feel, never tried them, et cetera, et cetera. For you, paying resale would be pretty stupid in my opinion. And again, I'm speaking to the player that I met last night, but also to everyone else who is of that younger cohort. I understand Neymar is an amazing player. Obviously, he's sort of fallen off since then. He's still a baller, but like that era, the era of Neymar and the Hypervenom has sort of faded away. And if you are that player, if you can get them on launch for retail, 100% buy them, 100% buy them. For those of you who are of the older generation, same thing. Would 100% purchase this if you can find them at retail. However, the conversation becomes a little bit more difficult if you are a player who, yeah, no separation, okay. If you are a player who is too young to actually, you were, you know, 7, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old maybe, when these actually originally came out, I would not recommend that you go and buy these for double the resale cost or whatever some scalper is gonna sell these for online. It's just not worth it. Go buy a GX2, you'll get a lot of the same feeling of these, albeit it being not as special maybe, and the sole plate being not as good. But it's that same waxy, grippy sensation that's really thin and really nice. The knit on the GX2 is fantastic, and there are a lot of other boots. That being said, for a player like myself, who grew up in the era that I did, I was obsessed with this boot when it first came out. I wore it my senior year in high school and freshman year in college. So I wore it across about 2 years, went through probably 15 different pairs, different colorways, etc. You gotta buy these. Like if you are somebody who grew up in the same era, I'm 29 now, so if you're in that sort of, you know, 25 years old, maybe 22 years old to like, you know, 35 or whatever, 35, 40, get these. Even if they're more expensive, they are that good. I am a huge fan. Boots fit me perfectly true to size. Width, obviously, as per usual with the Hypervenom 1, takes me a little bit of time to break in on the width. That's just because they're not perfect straight out of the box like the Hypervenom 3 is. But man, these are special. These are really, really special. And thank you, Nike. I've been absolutely trashing you and shitting on you recently. And I can't help but think that this was a pointed middle finger from Nike directly at me, being like, we can produce cool stuff still. Fair play. Fair play, Nike. As always, be awesome. Take care. See you guys in the next video.